your best choice. BEFM 부산 영어방송.
9년 전 한국에서의 새로운 출발을 위해 부산을 처음 찾은 프랭크. 부산의 자연과 사람, 부산에서 누리는 모든 것을 사랑하는 그는 부산의 변함없는 한데에 늘 감탄합니다.
I think that Busan people are actually very, very kind and very welcoming. If I seemed a little lost, there was always someone that was there to ask me if I needed help. They're more seriously friendly than it's very serious. I very seriously want to help you.
부산의 한결같은 모습도 늘 감동을 주지만 이제는 부산의 미래를 꿈꾸며 2030년 부산의 새로운 도약을 기대합니다.
Busan people are very proud of their city. They want to share the city with everyone. If we get the World Expo, it'll really put Busan on a global map.
세계 박람회가 어울리는 도시, 미래를 향한 힘찬 도약. 부산에서 출발한 파도는 이미 세계를 향해 뻗어나가고 있습니다. 2030 부산 세계 박람회. 부산이 시작하고 대한민국이 함께 이뤄갑니다. 이 캠페인은 지역과 함께하는 든든한 동반자 BNK 부산은행과 함께합니다.
Coming up next is Inside Out Busan with Min-Soo Shin. BEFM 부산 영어방송.
Hello, hello, hello. Hi, everybody, and thank you so much for tuning in. This is Inside Out Busan, and I'm your host, Min-Soo Shin. How goes it? I do hope you're having a lovely Thursday. Now, I'm sure you've come across those pictures on social media. They're pretty much everywhere. I've seen people make it their, profile pictures as well. Those AI-generated graduation photos, 90 themed, right? That people usually take in the United States. This is going viral. Have you tried it? Now, people, it seems like, are leaning into childhood nostalgia and creating school graduation photos that, are put in the yearbooks thanks to the newest AI-powered social media trend. Now, for me, I actually have a real U.S. yearbook, from my time in school in America. So it's not AI generated, but I can't share them with you guys. Well, at least publicly. 여러분의 시각 보호를 위해서요.
Give me a second, I need to get my story straight. My friends are in the bathroom getting higher than the Empire State. My lover, she is waiting for me just across the bar. My seat's been taken by some sunglasses, asking about a scar. And I know I gave it to you months ago. I know you're trying to forget, but between the drinks and subtle things, the holes in my apologies, I'm trying hard to take it back. So if by the time the bar closes and you feel like falling down, I'll carry you home tonight. We are young, so let's set the world on fire. We can burn brighter than the sun tonight. We are young, so let's set the world on fire. We can burn brighter than the sun. No, I know that I'm not all that you got. I guess that I just thought maybe we could find new ways to fall apart. But our friends are back, so let's raise a toast. 'Cause I found someone to carry me home tonight. We are young, so let's set by the time the bar closes and you feel like falling down, I'll carry you home tonight.
And that was fun with We Are Young to start off our show. We are at heart. Some of them at heart and physically young. Lucky you, right? Hello, everybody. Welcome to the program. This is Inside Out Busan, the first hour of our show. My name is Min-Soo Shin. 반갑습니다. 환영합니다. Now, if you've spent any time on social media over the past couple of weeks, I'm sure you've come across this new trend. I feel like still, even these days, it's going pretty strong. I'm seeing at least a version of this trend on, not like social media profiles of like companies or like individuals that I follow, friends and family, people that I know. It seems that every day or at least every other day, people are uploading the new social media trend. Now, which one am I talking about? It's those AI-generated photos that look like you went to high school in America in the 90s. I'm sure you've seen them. Basically, it's of people that you know, their faces put on, I don't know whose bodies they are, but big hair, big shoulders, big arms, right? The whole thing. It's like the extreme of the high school prom queen and kings, and then you have like the high school jocks, right? Like the sports guys. It's just their bodies and their hair, and then you just put your face on it. So users have basically thrown themselves right back into the 90s. And you know what? I'm pretty confident in saying this. I bet you most of them have never even spent time in the 90s in the US. So this is like a new culture for them, but something that's from the 90s, right? Celebrities even, they're no exception. Everybody's getting on this. People are posting their AI-generated school year pictures on their social media. So if you've tried it, I've tried it myself, but after I got to a certain point, I was like, it's not worth it. I'm sure you know at what point I'm talking about. So what you do is basically on this app, you upload. They ask you like 10 to even like 20 selfies of yourself. Sometimes like it ranges from like 8 to 12. I think when I was trying it, they were asking for at least 10, but if best, 20. And then the pictures get separated into categories after you post them, after you upload them onto the AI app. You could basically receive pictures of yourself, AI-generated pictures of yourself that maybe have the theme, best dressed. Because in America, when it comes to, I think, junior high and high school, they always gave titles to certain people. And it's usually the popular kids, right? Like best dressed, most athletic. So a lot of people are getting their faces put on bodies, heads and bodies of, I guess, students from back then that were picked as best dressed, most likely to succeed, most athletic, most talented, whatnot. And I guess it's getting like a lot of good response because these days, the MZ generation, the MZers, they're very into the Y2K and retro styles, right? So they say the reason why people are getting so into the AI-generated yearbook photos is because it allows people to relive their memories if they had real graduation photos. And it piques the interest of those wanting to experience American graduation photos. So for people like me that actually went through it, as well people like Haeyeon, who's in the studio right now with me, who actually went through these high school, junior high and high school graduation photos in the U.S., I guess it's a good reminder for us. He's like, what could have been back then? And for people that just lived here in Korea and didn't really go to school in America and didn't have these photos, they probably be like, what if, I went to school in America? This is what I would have looked like. So, I said for me, I stopped when it asked for money. I was like, okay, everybody's doing it. I just want to try it out for fun. 그냥 재미로 한번 해보자 했는데 이제 돈 내라고 하니까요. Now, don't get me wrong. It's not like I'm super cheap. If I never experienced something like this, I'd be down to put, pay. I don't know. I was asking for like $6 or $8, was it? Which is not bad. But then me, I actually have photos like that. So I mentioned in the opening, I cannot show them because for the safety of your eyes. 네, 여러분의 시각을 보호하기 위해서 저는 여기서 안 보여줄 거고요. 그냥 뭐 요즘 AI 포토로 나오는 거 비슷하다고 생각하면 됩니다. 제 사진들은요. So I want to hear from you, listeners. Do you have any awkward or embarrassing graduation photos, middle and high school that you took? And I guess, you could share them if you want. You could send it to us, text message, Kakao Talk. I don't know if you could post pictures on our YouTube. I don't think you can. So on our Kakao Talk or text message. And if you can't share them, what's the reason? 졸업사진, 흑역사 사진이 있습니까? 없습니까? 뭐 중학생 때, 고등학생 때 혹시 저는 당연히 여기 스튜디오에서 I won't share it. 저만 볼 겁니다. 저한테 보여주고 싶으면요. 땡큐고요. If not, just describe the photo for me. I'm so curious. 한국에 진짜 사진, 특히 고등학교 졸업 사진 찍을 때 진짜 재밌잖아요. 막 코스튬도 입고 막 그렇게 하는데 I'm really curious if some of our listeners took those kinds of pictures. Let me know. pound 9050 샵 9050. It will cost you 100 won. You could text us those pictures or just chat with us in general on our Kakao Talk, or we are live on YouTube as well. Come join us. Let's get to today's News Bites. News Bites with Haeyeon here in the studio. Hi, Haeyeon.
Hello.
Hi. So as I was saying, do you know where your yearbook and graduation photos are?
Yes, they're in our family album.
Oh.
And for some reason, for my 고등학교 1학년 사진, my mom was insistent that I should wear like my grandma's pearl necklace.
Oh.
It was weird. So I just felt so awkward. So I ended up looking like a constipated retiree. And that photo is in our family album.
The pearl necklace will do that to you, right?
Yeah, it was really large too.
Aw.
Yeah.
But like for you, when you see people upload these AI-generated yearbook photos of them, like what do you think?
They look way too hot.
Exactly. So
Everyone's just perfectly attractive,
맞아요.
perfectly coiffed hair. That's not how they come out.
여러분, reality check. Nobody looked like that in the 90s. 90년대 아무도 그렇게 안 생겼습니다. Right?
맞아요.
So this is the most like beautified, most like basically celebrities would look like that if they took a yearbook photo for, I don't know, like a magazine or
I
something.
don't know. Even Brad Pitt, I don't think would have looked that good in his high school photos.
맞아요. You could look up Brad Pitt's probably yearbook photos.
It's probably out there.
Right?
Yeah.
It's out there. It's online. Compared to these
So-
AI-generated photos, you probably look more beautiful than Brad Pitt.
But a
Brad
little
Pitt
dose
did.
of fantasy doesn't hurt.
맞아요. 근데 재밌잖아요. I think that's the most important thing.
맞아요.
I see. All right, well, let's get to today's news bites. Haeyeon, what do you have?
Okay, so today there was a meeting with President Yoon on the country's medical reform, following news about raising the enrollment quota at South Korean medical schools, which faced a lot of opposition from major doctors groups. President Yoon was at a strategic meeting today with hospital and government officials on medical reforms, and he called for improvements to the nation's medical service system and an expansion of the medical workforce. Yeah.
Right. Yeah. So this has been just an ongoing issue here in
Yes.
Korea, not just as of late, for the past couple of
years.
months, right? And years even. This goes back to some. So fields like pediatrics, OBGYN, emergency rooms, they are dealing with challenges right now. Any more details shared during this meeting?
So at the meeting, the president proposed fostering national university hospitals, 국립대 병원이죠, to prevent the collapse of these essential fields you just mentioned, adding that they will shift the administration of these universities from the Education Ministry to the Health Ministry now. And to bolster essential medical services outside the capital region and to prepare for our rapidly aging society, Yoon said that it's crucial to expand the workforce and to foster more talent, hinting at the push for the medical school enrollment quota increase. And compensation for doctors was also discussed because at National University hospitals, the pay has increased only 1% to 2% every year. So the pay gap has become very significant compared to private hospitals, which is why there's such an outflow of the workforce to the private sector. So they mentioned easing regulations on wages and hiring professionals and other stuff, and working towards the regional hospitals being more equipped for serious diseases, because currently patients usually flock to Seoul or the capital area for these more serious illnesses. And it was announced that the scope of the enrollment expansion for med schools will be finalized by early next year, starting to take effect in 2025.
Okay, so the latest when it comes to just the situation of our country when it comes to medical care. With the recent meeting of presidents with the president on medical reform. And I'm sure there'll be more coming out of this after this meeting, after these details.
Definitely.
Then in terms of policies they're going to roll out, I'm sure we'll see changes in that.
Yes.
What's next?
Okay, some economy news. The Bank of Korea froze the key interest rate for the sixth time in a row amid heightened uncertainties. So South Korea's central bank maintained the key interest rate for the sixth time in a row, like I said, because of concerns of slowing economic growth, the inflation, rising household debt, and increased global uncertainties, including the ongoing Ukraine-Russia conflict. This decision followed 7 consecutive rate hikes from April 2022 to this year, January.
Okay, so freezing means, not going up, not going down, but it seems like it is going in the direction of slowing down when it comes to inflation. But there are several uncertainties just around the world that play into this decision.
Yes. South Korea's economy is facing challenges from a lot of risky factors with China, which is its largest trading partner, and exports to China have been reducing. The prolonged Ukraine-Russia conflict and rising household debt are posing additional risks. However, exports, which have been steadily declining since last October, are expected to increase a little bit this year. And inflation in South Korea has been moderating, but remains above the central bank's target of 2%, with forecast of 3.5% for the full year. The rate freeze is also influenced by concerns over the rate difference with the United States, which could lead to capital outflows and impact the local currency.
Okay. For me, I'm not too versed when it comes to the economy, but I know for sure if it's not a hike, then it's good news.
Definitely.
Like when it comes to interest rates, right? If it's a freeze or even if it's on a decline.
So it's slowly but surely, I think, our country's economy is improving.
Yeah. Well, let's hope we keep going towards this direction. Let's move on to our last bit of news.
So in the U.S., the government, the Speaker of the House position is still left empty. So this is a critical role in the U.S. House of Representatives, elected by the members of the House. And the Speaker position presides over its session. That's the one holding the gavel, and plays a vital role in shaping the country's policies and legislation. The Speaker is also second in line to the presidency. But the House has been in a standstill for 16 days now since former Speaker Kevin McCarthy was voted out. And in an ongoing race, Republican Representative Jim Jordan is refusing to drop out. So it's leading to a limbo situation as he and his far-right allies won't make way for a more viable nominee. The House is scheduled to convene on Thursday local time, but there's a growing concern that the House could remain without a leader for even longer.
I mean, what are the prospects of how long this would go on?
So one potential deadline to watch is November 17th, which is when Congress needs to approve funding to avoid a government shutdown. However, the next steps are uncertain. A bipartisan group of lawmakers has proposed giving Representative Patrick McHenry, the interim speaker, more power to temporarily lead the House and conduct routine business. But this is also uncertain now. Representative Jim Jordan, who was a former former wrestling coach, actually, failed in a crucial second ballot yesterday with opposition from 22 Republicans. Many are viewing him as too extreme for such a central role in the country, and some lawmakers have been reported of receiving death threats from the allies of Jim Jordan.
Oh.
So its tension is high right now.
Yeah, and there's no perfect candidate out there. So picking one, obviously, and having both sides agree to something, this is probably one of the hardest things, especially in U.S. politics. But we're going to have to keep our eyes on this. You mentioned November 17th as one of the closest dates to keep our eyes on in terms of any changes that could take place.
We'll see.
Well, and that will do it for today's News Bites. And actually, that'll do it for your stint for now, I guess.
Yes, for now. And Annie will be back
News Bites.
tomorrow.
Mm-hmm.
So, it was great to be here.
Yeah, it was great to have you. Thank you so much for all your hard work. But still, I'm sure listeners could tune in throughout the day and still hear your voice.
And I'll be on the live chat,
Oh, yeah,
chatting along with
you
everyone.
are. Oh, so join us
see
over
ya.
there as
All
well.
right.
Hey, and thank you so much for all your hard work, okay? We'll see you soon.
Okay, take care.
That's right. I walk along the avenue. I never thought I'd meet a girl like you. Meet a girl like you. With auburn hair and tawny eyes. The kind of eyes that hypnotize me through. You hypnotize me through. And I ran so far away. I just ran all night and day. I couldn't get away. A cloud appears above your head. A beam of light comes shining down on you. Shining down on you. The cloud is moving nearer still. Aurora borealis comes in view. Aurora comes in view. And I ran so far away. I just ran all night and day. I couldn't get away. Come on! Reach out a hand to touch your face. You're slowly disappearing from my view. Appearing from my view. Reach out a hand to try again. I'm floating in a beam of light with you. A beam of light with you. And I ran so far away. I just ran all
And that fun little number was D.A. Wallach with I Ran. I think that's like that artist version. I've listened to I forget who the original band or artist was of that song, but fun nonetheless. The time is now 6:33 here in the studio. Thank you so much for joining me. My name is Min-Soo Shin, and you're tuned in to Inside Busan. Good evening to you all. Let's see what the weather and traffic is looking like. Right now, 20 degrees. Our city is averaging nice and cool. Tomorrow, expecting morning low of 14 and an afternoon high of 19. So between tonight and tomorrow morning, Busan is set to have light rain here and there. And then after the rain stops, the temperature will decrease even during the daytime, and it will be colder than probably it was today. 내일 부산은 오전에 가끔 비가 오겠고요. 비가 그친 후에는 추워집니다. 그래서 여러분 단디 챙기세요. When it comes to the traffic, we have congestion on 중앙대로 from Busan 진역 Station going towards Chwacheon three-way intersection. There's also congestion on Suyeonglo from Taeyeon Pass going towards KBS three-way intersection. Slow-moving traffic over on Yeonsuro from Mangmi Junction going towards Suyeong Junction. Everybody, drive safe, be safe. 네, 안전 운전 부탁드립니다. All right, so today, as the AI 90s US yearbook trend is all the craze right now, I wanted to hear from you, just your thoughts on that, or maybe if you have any like fun graduation pictures or embarrassing ones. I know probably most of our listeners don't have the courage to send me those photos. But I don't know, are you proud of them? Are you embarrassed of them? Are you like, 그냥 사진은 사진이다, like whatever is about them? I'm so curious. 저는 좀 부끄러워요. Like for me, like it's probably hard for our listeners to picture me in high school, but I have short hair right now, but I had that like short spiky hair and it's gel. 피부도 조금 고등학교는 조금 더 새까맣고요, 저는. 네. So yeah, that's why I decided not to show what I look like in high school. But I want to hear from you, listeners. Are you embarrassed of your high school days or just yearbook photos that you have? We have a couple messages that came in on our YouTube. 우리 토끼님, 유튜브 앞에 사진은 민수님 미국 졸업 사진인가요? 가보자고님 also saying today's thumbnail was edited carelessly and hilariously. Today's YouTube thumbnail is brought to you by Kim PD here at BFM. She's in charge of doing the imagery for Inside Out Busan's YouTube thumbnail. I think she did a good job. So basically, 그냥 it's basically my face plastered onto the bodies of those AI generated photos. 근데 비슷해요. 그냥 얼굴만 조금 쉐이딩만 더 하면 조금 더 자연스럽게 생기면 you could just assume that that's what I look like. Okay. We also have messages. 오랜만에 우리 Brandon and Aiden님 on our Kakao Talk. 반갑습니다. 오랜만입니다. Inside of Busan, I'm curious about Min-Soo's yearbook photos from his school days. Will it be shared? 아니요. I'm sorry to disappoint you. 저는 너무 부끄러워서 그래요. I think I have them somewhere at my house. 저도 가족 그 앨범 그냥 사진 그 앨범에 있거든요. But 저도 I refuse to open it these days. I can't remember the last time I opened it because I'm so embarrassed of those photos. So continue to keep those messages rolling in. Don't wonder too much about my photos. I want to hear from your photos. 여러분, 네, 저의 사진 너무 궁금해하지 말고요. 여러분의 졸업 사진 대해서 말해주세요. Let's get to today's IOB 5분 상식. Time for today's IOB 5분 상식 to help me out. We have HK님 joining us here in the studio. HK님 안녕하십니까?
Hello.
Hi.
Good to see you.
네, good to see you as well. Thank you so much for coming in. Time for 5분 상식, getting our listeners in the know of some of the most trending, useful, need-to-know words, expressions. 5분만 들으면 유식해지는 시간인데요. 오늘은요, 멧돼지와 마주쳤을 때 대처 사항에 대해 알아보도록 하겠습니다.
I can't believe someone ate all my carrots, pumpkins, and vegetables. I spent so much time planting them. 오늘 반드시 범인을 잡을 거야. Where is this sound coming from? Seriously, what is that? Where's going on? Oh my goodness! Is that a wild boar? 멧돼지잖아. Should I call 119 or what should I do to handle the situation?
Here, we always have a lot of vegetables. I had yummy carrots and pumpkins today. Oh, should I call my mom and dad too?
I looked closer and it's a baby white boar. I might catch it. She slowly. 잡았다! I've got you now, you vegetable thief.
Please, don't call 119. I was just hungry. There's no food left in the mountains because of all the development. 내 엄마 아빠 기다리고 있는데.
Please don't make me cry. I get it. I'll forgive you this time, but don't damage this food again. 그리고 아기 멧돼지야.
네.
I will leave your lunch with badges for your family every day. Deal?
아저씨, thank you. You're not like other humans. Are we friends now? 우리 이제 친구죠.
오, HK님 앞에 막 화내면서 막 이렇게 하는 연기 너무 자연스러웠어요.
But your acting was amazing. Seems like really pig.
네, it really sounded like a pig. 저는 진짜 그렇게 노력했습니다. 왜냐면 저는 원고에 있는 대로 우리 작가님이 디렉션 주면 저 꼭 하거든요. 오늘은 베이비 품바 목소리처럼 이렇게 가로로 디렉션을 줬는데 hopefully I didn't disappoint our 작가님 today. 네, 우리 오늘 꽁트 대해서 설명해 주세요.
As you can see, the situation in 꽁트 may seem like a scene from a very happy ending animation, but it's really risky when dealing with actual wild boars.
맞아요.
This year, 588 wild boars were caught in Busan. 588마리의 멧돼지가 부산에서 잡혔는데요.
네.
Why are they appearing so often in the city all of a sudden? 왜 갑자기 야생인 멧돼지가 많이 나타나는 걸까요?
네. So during the autumn season, wild boars, they actually move into the city, the urban areas, more often because of the increased activity related to mating as well as winter preparation. This includes storing food. So they mate between November and January and need extra energy reserves for winter. That's why they search for food in wider areas. 원래 음식 찾는 그런 area보다 조금 더 넓이 나가거든요. So this sometimes makes them come closer to downtown and city areas where there's more food options. Also, wild boars come into the cities because their homes in the mountains, they're disappearing actually because of development in the mountains causing a lack of food.
I see. As you told, people are encouraged to be cautious because wild boars can be aggressive during mating season. Lately, lots of wild boars have shown up in downtown Busan. So the city is giving out guidelines and warnings to people. So can you please provide guidelines what to do if I meet a wild boar?
Yeah.
멧돼지 발견 시의 행동 요령을 알려주신다면.
네. So wild boars, they have limited eyesight. And they might think that sudden movements or loud noises are threats, which could make them attack. So if you see a 멧돼지, a wild boar, don't shout or move suddenly. Don't do either of those. It's not safe to run away with your back turned to the wild boar. Okay, 뒤돌아 이렇게 뛰어가면요, the wild boar is going to see it as some kind of threat or attack, and it might chase you. So if you see one, lock eyes with it. 이렇게 눈을 이렇게 쳐다보면서요. You stay calm, slowly step back, and find shelter or maybe a safe spot. You can also hide quietly behind something like a tree or a rock or even a telephone pole. And then you call for help, 112 or 119. So this is what you do when you see a wild boar. 멧돼지 보이면 꼭 이렇게 하세요. 너무 놀라서 막 과음 지르고 이렇게 하면 안 됩니다. 절대로 안 됩니다. Alright, so today's 5분 상식 멧돼지와 마주쳤을 때는 눈을 똑바로 쳐다보고 천천히 뒷걸음질로 나무나 전봇대 등 가까운 은폐물에 몸을 숨기고 신고하시기 바랍니다. 오늘의 5분 상식이었습니다. 김대리, 퇴근하나?
예, 부장님.
집이 교회종이지? 같은 방향인데 같이 가지? 요즘 회사 생활 어떤가?
예, 저 열심히 잘하고 있습니다.
결혼 생활도 재밌지?
예, 뭐 즐겁죠, 예. 저 그 라디오라도 좀.
그래 라디오.
네가 저번 주 13인 같네.
22번 홀리면
진짜 회사 생활 쉽지 않다. 어색한 이 순간 인사이드 아웃 부산과 함께하세요. 오늘은
The Insider X.
Time for Insider X, and we have our insider of City Hall here in the studio. Continues to be with us here in the studio. HK님, 안녕하십니까?
안녕하세요. 반갑습니다.
Hi. HK님, we have a couple messages that came in during our little 꽁트 that we did. We have Eunice님 saying, 저도 며칠 전 멧돼지 만났을 때 대처 사항 찾아봤거든요.
네네.
오, 그럼 유니스님도 뭐 산에서나 안 그러면 뭐 maybe 도시 쪽에
네네.
멧돼지를 봤대요. 유니스님 also said 잘못된 정보들이 의외로 많더라고요. 열심히 들을게요. 늘 재밌긴 하지만 오늘도 유익하고 재밌는 걸 재미있을 것 같네요. 네, 유니스님 너무 감사합니다. Hopefully what we taught our listeners through our little 꽁트 it helps. Also we have 토끼님 saying 오 애니메이션 듣는 줄 두 사람 연기 케미 짱. Thumbs up. 사실 위험하긴 하지만 멧돼지들이 사살되는 거 보니 저는 슬퍼요. 그렇죠. 그런 장면 보면 any animal I think would be sad. But if it's a threat to you, a danger to you, 저희가 먼저 저희를 챙겨야죠.
맞아요.
네.
살고 봐야죠.
맞습니다. HK님, thank you so much. So you are here for today's Insider X, right?
Sure.
So as always, shall we start off with a story?
Absolutely. 안녕하세요. 저는 아이를 키우고 있는 시민입니다. 가을은 독서의 계절이라고 하잖아요. 그래서 아이들과 함께 도서관에 가서 책을 읽으려고 하는데 부산시에서 들락날락을 많이 조성하고 있다고 해서 한번 가볼까 하는데요. 자세한 정보를 알려주세요.
Thank you so much for today's story. So could you first introduce today's story in English, please?
He's a citizen who raises his children. As you know, autumn is a perfect season for reading books. So he plans to go library with his children. He heard that Busan City is now making many children's libraries, so called 들락날락. Thus, he wants to know the detail about it.
Yeah. So I'm on the same page with the person that sent in today's story. Right now, autumn, perfect season for reading books. Don't you think?
Sure, I also agree on that. And actually, I really like reading books. So after finish my work, I usually spend time with books. So I'm really, quite interested in today's story as well.
Oh, you know what? You look like a person that reads books.
Oh, really? Thank you.
책 읽는 사람 같이 생겼어요. 저는 완전 쟤는 분명히 책 안 읽는다 그렇게 생겼거든요. So especially I think for kids, right? Reading books is very helpful, but sometimes, buying books are expensive too. 책을 다 살라고 하는데 부담되죠 for families. So visiting libraries is a good way to save money. And then at the same time, it's a place you could spend the weekend with your family. So with that point of view, today's story is going to be very helpful, especially for parents who have young kids.
Sure. So today I'm going to talk about children's library in Busan, especially all about 들락날락, like what is it and how many 들락날락 are installed and
네.
what kind of services that you can use, etc.
Okay. So I've heard about 들락날락. I've actually seen it, the one in City Hall. 시청에
네.
있는 걸 봤거든요.
네,
But I didn't go in. 그냥 밖에서 봤어요. So I don't know the details of it. And I'm sure most of our listeners maybe are in the same boat as me. So today with our segment, it's a good chance to know exactly what 들락날락 is. So shall we get right into it?
Sure. So, firstly, let me briefly explain about the concept of 들락날락.
네.
As you know, the meaning of 들락날락 in Korean itself is the status that you can easily go in and go out. So maybe if I translate 들락날락 into English, then it will be quite similar to in and out.
갑자기 햄버거 먹고 싶으시네요. 네. Now, actually, it's my first time hearing about the explanation about the meaning of 들락날락. I was like, oh, that's a catchy name.
네.
그냥 이름이 신기하다 하고 땡이었거든요.
맞아요.
근데
네.
it has a meaning like
Yes,
that.
yes.
Okay. Now I understand.
Yeah, anyway, as Minsu already mentioned, 들락날락 is a brand name of new children's library in Busan. This one is not merely library itself. There are so many other programs that children can enjoy. So that's the reason why city called 들락날락 as Children's Cultural Complex. 어린이 복합 문화 공간이라고 합니다.
I see. So not just for books,
네.
but as a children's cultural complex, sounds like there's going to be a lot of things to do for
Sure.
kids in there. Why is it popular these days?
Actually, 들락날락 is one of the most important promise of Mayor Park Hyung-jun. Especially, it's one of the centerpiece of 15-minute city policy.
네.
15분 도시의 핵심 정책입니다.
네.
As you know, 15-minute city is Mayor Park's most important policy. So that makes citizens can enjoy every service in 15 minutes walk. And 들락날락 is essential facilities for kids. So that's the reason Mayor said until 2026, city plans to make 200 들락날락.
200개요.
네네, 200개.
That's a big number. So Busan, 16 districts. That means, I don't know, like maybe like 10 or more
sure.
들락날락 in each district.
Yes.
That sounds good for citizens because 그냥 한 구 안에 10개 정도 있으면
네네.
어디 가든 you're close to a 들락날락 library. So it may be that's also part of the 15-minute, city plan that the city has. So how many 들락날락s are running right now?
Currently, 29 들락날락 are already open and running. Furthermore, 45 들락날락 are constructing right now. So city expects that until the end of this year,
네.
among 45 들락날락, which is constructing, about 20 will be opened. So the total number of 들락날락 will be around 50.
Nice.
그러니까 현재는 29곳이 개관해 있고요. 45곳을 추가로 조성 중에 있는데 이 중 20곳 정도가 연말까지 개관 예정이라서 연말이면은 총 50곳이 운영 예정입니다.
From 29 to 50 by the end of this year,
Yes,
right? That's
yes.
like a huge jump. It's a dramatic increase. Can you fill us in on the location or any other details of the 들락날락s?
Yeah, so good points. From last week, city operated hub site for 들락날락. Thus, you can easily find the location and detailed information of each 들락날락 by visiting this website. The address of this site is www.busan.go.kr/bschild. 네, 지난주부터 부산시는 들락날락 통합 플랫폼을 운영하고 있고요. 여기 방문하시면 들락날락 위치나 세부 정보를 손쉽게 아실 수 있는데요. 주소는 www.busan.go.kr/bschild 입니다.
감사합니다. So now we know what 들락날락 is and where they might be and how many there are.
Yes.
Tell us about the programs. What kind of content can we find at 들락날락?
Absolutely, this one is the most important part for today's segment. Actually, each 들락날락 has different programs, so it's a little bit hard to cover all the programs for each 들락날락. So today, I will just cover the general programs of 들락날락.
Okay.
Yeah, first one is absolutely about reading books.
그렇죠.
네. As you know, the core function of 들락날락 is children's library, so it's definitely true that in every 들락날락 you can read and borrow books.
Yeah, that has to be like the foundation of 들락날락s, right?
Yes.
Place where kids can go and read books because reading books is probably one of the most beneficial things for kids when it comes to developing, their knowledge. So 그거는 보장됐으니까
네,
좋네요.
sure.
What's next?
Second one is about digital experience.
Oh.
9 들락날락 run this program related to learning and making an experience related to digital devices like metaverse or coding or 3D printer, etc.
네. Oh, okay. So going digital with
Yes.
this, that sounds very interesting because you have to be in the know of how to use them
sure.
these days, even
Sure.
if you're a kid.
Yes.
What else?
Third one is I really like this one
네.
because it's so related to me.
네.
It's about learning English.
Ah, okay.
Yeah, I already covered this one when I introduced about my policy, English-friendly city policy.
Oh yeah, 네.
From July, we implemented this pilot project about studying English with native teacher at 들락날락.
네.
Currently, at 11 들락날락, and this program is ongoing to the children at the age 3 to 5.
아 맞아요. 요즘 a lot of parents, 부모들 영어 교육에 관심이
네,
많잖아요. So ages 3 to 5, if you have kids and you send them to 들락날락, you get to learn English and it was for free.
Yes, right.
Right?
Yes, right.
Oh, that's very enticing part of the 들락날락 libraries.
Right.
Anything else?
Next one is about physical activities, so-called Let's Play program, such as playing some indoor sports and folk games, etc.
네.
Currently at 12 들락날락, this program is ongoing.
맞아요. 그리고 재밌어야지
네.
애들이 더 가고 싶고
맞아요.
가고 싶은데 I'm sure safety is also ensured at the 들락날락 libraries. Parents don't probably have to worry
Right.
about their kids' safety.
Yes.
That's good. They could have fun. Anything else?
Yeah, actually there are more ones, but because of the time limit, I will introduce one more. Last one is about learning science. This one is focusing on teaching science to children under the age of 7. Yeah, in a very easy and interesting way. Currently, 6 들락날락 run this program.
Okay. Science, even that they teach. A lot of programs. I'm sure there's more you mentioned. If parents are interested, where else can they check out about the programs?
As I already mentioned, please visit 들락날락 hub site www.busan.go.kr/bschild.
네.
Yeah, then you can find program and everything related to 들락날락.
Nice. So, folks, if you have kids, if you're a teacher, maybe, of young students, take advantage of all the free activities that the city is providing through the 들락날락 library. 지금 현재 29곳이 있고, before the year ends, 50.
Yes.
50개로 늘어질 거고, and Busan Mayor 박형준 has a goal to make it 200
Right.
during his term, right? Ooh. Sounds good. Very excited about this. HK님, before you go, we have a couple messages coming in. We have 조민성님 saying, 배영건님, 잘생겼어요. 근데 미성님, 알고 있죠, 저희는. 근데 HK님 얼굴 집중하지 말고 컨텐츠에 집중해 주시기 바랍니다. 네, 감사합니다. We also have Angel KK님 saying 두 분 연기 케미 재밌었어요.
I really like it.
네, 에인조님 너무 감사합니다.
고맙습니다.
Lastly, 우리 1년 충유소님 saying age 35 isn't eligible for the 들락날락.
Sorry.
네, 35이면 집에서 책 읽어야 될 것 같아요. 안 그러면 도서관. They have 어른 도서관 too.
예, 어른 도서관 있습니다.
네. Brandon A님 saying 들락날락 너무 좋은 사업이네요. So citizens already interested in this. HK님, thank you so much. That will do it for today's Insider X. 너무 수고했습니다. We'll see you back here next week.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye. Folks, that will do it for the first hour of Inside of Busan. I'll see you back here at 7. To take us out of our number 1, Hall & Oates, Man Eater.
시청역이 도보 2분의 차.
대형마트도 근처에 차.
초등학교도 안심통학권에 차.
착착착 집중 밀차.
신주거 타운의 중심에서 누리는 초집중 라이프.
시청역 해모로 센티아.
아파트 11월 오픈 예정 051-861-7952 HJ중공업.
괜찮아 괜찮아 조금 불편해도 환경을 위해 너무 괜찮아 일회용 컵 대신 머그컵 비닐봉지 대신 에코백 물티슈 대신 손수건 우리의 실천 하나하나 모여 세상을 바꿔요 깨끗한 세상 플라스틱 제로 일회용품 제로 함께해서 참 좋은 우리의 시민 불편한
이 캠페인은 부산환경공단이 함께합니다.
안녕하세요. 운동 유튜버 심으뜸입니다. 요즘 친환경에 필요한 게 뭔지 아세요? 바로 내 몸.
밖에선 한정거장 거리 정도는 걷기. 유산소 운동 효과에 탄소 배출 감소 효과까지. 안에선 안 쓰는 플러그 뽑기 스쿼트. 하체 근력 강화 효과에 기후변화 방지 효과까지.
어때요? 효과 확실하죠? 몸 좀 움직였을 뿐인데 건강도 아끼고 환경도 아끼고 친환경 피지컬 함께 시작해볼까요?
공익광고 협의회.
The time is now 7 o'clock.
꼬리에 꼬리를 무는 품격 있는 토크. 시끄러워 죄송합니다. Inside Out Busan.
Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls of all ages. This is the second hour of Inside Out Busan. I'm your host, Min-Soo Shin. It is 7 o'clock. How are you doing, 여러분? Thank you so much for hanging out with me or deciding to hang out with me tonight. You could have been anywhere in the world, but you're here with me, and I appreciate that. All right, we have lots of messages coming in today, but I wanted to get to a message that came in earlier about our text topic from Brandon and Aiden님. Korean school yearbooks are centered around ID photos. So it seems that the popular American AI photos are becoming more popular these days because they have a very fun atmosphere. Moreover, these days, avatars are so realistic that it's surprising, and the advancement of science and technology is amazing. 맞아요. Brandon and A님, what I was super blown away by was because of how real it looked. 너무 리얼하게 생겨서요. 저도 순간 이 사람 미국에서 학교 다녔나 싶을 정도 that it looked like that. And then I started seeing like the same photos of other people, like their faces on like the same body and same face, and that's when I realized, this is like some kind of like another like AI kind of or like an app that does this. It's amazing and scary at the same time, don't you think? I will get to your messages, more messages later on in our show, but we're going to kick things off with On the Mic. This is the segment where we get to share the stories about you, the citizens of Busan. Let's see who we have for today.
네, 정말 2030 부산 월드엑스포를 많은 분들이 바라고 있지만 실제로 몸으로 실천하고 오신 분들을 제가 모시고 왔습니다.
트랜스 유라시아 대표 한미영입니다. 반갑습니다.
반갑습니다. 트랜스 유라시아 상임위원장 나호주입니다.
유라시아 평화원정대 대원 김영숙입니다.
소감을 좀 먼저 들어봐야 될 것 같습니다. 선생님 어떠셨어요?
가문의 영광이 같다는 생각으로 제가 대답을 하겠습니다.
네, 가문의 영광. 제가 듣기로는 우리 선생님께서 굉장한 분위기 메이커였다고 제가 들었거든요.
저는 그런 역할을 역할은 좀 못했고 그냥 묵묵히 잘 따라가 주는 것이 임무다 생각했기 때문에 열심히 말 없이 열심히 잘 따라다녔습니다.
저는 이제 그냥 상상으로만 했던 부산에서 출발해서 포카까지 갔다 오는 것들이 우리 개념 속에만 있었는데 이게 진짜로 되고 진짜로 유럽에 가서 국경이 없는 나라들이 통과되는 걸 보면서 이제 우리도 정말로 우리가 꿈을 가지고 상상을 했던 그의 안들이 남북 연기를 통해서 반드시 되겠다는 생각, 출발점에 우리 부산이 있다는 생각에 대한 확신이 확실하게 들었습니다.
이제 처음 기획을 하고 다 다녀오고 또 이렇게 국제영화제 컵이 영화로도 선정이 되고 총 과정이 한 4년, 5년 거의 다 가는 것 같아요. 그 기간 동안 저는 이제 막 기쁘고 좋다 그런 감정보다는 처음에 계획했던 거가 1단계 넘어갔구나, 해냈구나. 그럼 그 다음 단계 또 준비해서 진행을 해야지 뭐 그런 생각을 했습니다.
부산이 꼭 유치가 됐으면 좋겠다라고 마음은 가지기 쉬운데 행동으로 옮긴다는 건 정말 어려운 일이라는 생각이 들거든요. 그래서 저는 대단하다라는 생각이 들었는데 혹시 스스로에게 칭찬을 한마디씩 해준다면 어떤 칭찬 해줄까요?
정말 잘했다. 영수가 너무 잘했다.
2025년이 일본에서 엑스포를 하니까 부산은 그 바로 옆인데 되겠나 이런 생각이 대다들 하고 계시는데 일본은 바다가 끊겨 있어가지고 이 유라시아 대륙이 아니더라고요. 그래서 유라시아 대륙에 있는 많은 사람들한테 우리가 유라시아 대륙의 일원이다. 우리 부산이 유라시아 시작점이다. 이것만 알리면 그걸 극복할 수 있겠다. 그래서 그 극복한 거를 영화에 그대로 담아서 부산 시민들 혹은 세계 사람들한테 알리니까 그게 너무 뿌듯합니다.
뭐 첫 번째 고생했구나. 고생했지만 그만큼 많이 성장을 하고 보고 배우고 또 우리가 다니는 내내 132일 동안 굉장히 자부심, 대한민국 국민으로서 부산 시민으로서 또 반드시 엑스포가 유치되어야 된다고 그거를 호소를 하면서 굉장히 나 스스로에게도 많은 걸 채워지는 그런 시간이었습니다.
그 부산 시민들도 부산이 되겠나 하는 분들이 많거든요. 그 현지에서의 반응을 실제로 몸으로 다 느끼고 오셨잖아요. 대한민국의 문화나 대한민국에 대한 관심도 높아지고 있는데 그 가능성 있겠나 하는 분들에게 전하고 싶은 메시지가 꼭 있으실 것 같아서.
불가능은 없다. 우리가 선택을 하기로 했으면 해야 될 거 아닙니까? 그럼 수단 방법을 가리지 않고 목적 달성을 해야지.
농담으로 내일 일은 아무도 모른다. 내일 일은 하나님도 모른다. 이런 생각을 참 많이 하는데 그 내일이 될 때까지 우리가 할 수 있는 모든 것을 가능성을 열어놓고 그냥 우리는 트라이 할 뿐이다. 운명은 그날 결정될 것이다. 그렇게 생각합니다.
저희가 다녀보니까 각 나라가 이렇게 우리를 환대를 해주고 이렇게 반기는지 저희가 이제 직접 이제 몸으로 느껴보면서 부산 안에서만 갇혀서 되겠나라는 생각보다는 좀 더 적극적으로 글로벌하게 해외로 나와서 직접 만나서 호소하는 게 가장 좋은 방법 가능하지 않겠습니까? 부산이 되겠나라고 생각하시는 분들이 계시다면 아직 시간이 남았으니 마지막 결정되는 순간까지 다 같이 힘을 모아서 부산 월드 엑스포 화이팅! 부산의 유치회를 마음속에 담아주셨으면 좋겠습니다.
나중에 시장 나오시거나 이러실 건 아니죠? 차기 시장님 노리시고 그런 말을 하시는 거 아니시죠?
아닙니다. 이게 순수한 마음에서 우러나오는
코너 속에 코너가 하나 있어요. 각자 좋아하는 영어 단어 하나씩만 여쭙고 싶거든요.
워터.
역시 물이네요.
네.
네. 네. 그리고 어떠신가요?
저는 트랜스를 좋아합니다. 트랜스. 부산의 도시도 트랜스 부산이 돼야 된다고 생각합니다. 태평양과 유라시아를 잇는 트랜스 부산. 이게 우리 부산의 미래의 모습이다. 제가 출마할까요?
그러니까요. 잠깐 지금 이렇게 부산을 사랑하시는 분들이 있었다고라는 생각이 들었어요. 네, 좋아하는 영어 하는 거 있다면?
사실은 저도 트랜스인데 먼저 하셨기 때문에 퓨처 지금 현재를 기반으로 해서 앞으로 우리 다음 세대 우리 아이들 잘 살 수 있도록 부산이 발전을 했으면 좋겠다는 의미에서 퓨처
2030 부산 월드 엑스포 부산의
유치해. 감사합니다.
All right, a very packed on the mic today. Our reporter Olivia speaking with actually 3 special guests. We had Han Mi-young, Na Ho-ju, and Kim Young-suk, 3 representatives of the Trans-Eurasia 2022 Peace Expedition, sharing with us just their experience and what they came to realize and felt, excuse me, during their expedition. We had 나오주 상임 원장님 saying, he saw his dream come true, traveling from Busan to Portugal. This is something that he only imagined back then, right? But now it's possible to do so. And he said after his experience, he hoped that with the connection between North and South Korea that might, come about in the future, this could allow people to freely cross borders and, who knows, take a train from Busan and arrive in Portugal, right? That could be a reality later on for a lot of people. He believed that Busan was a starting point for this dream, and he said he felt incredibly proud because they got to be a part of this journey. They got to show their, journey as a documentary during BIF, and it got the interest of a lot of people. And we also had 한미영 대표님 expressing her joy for the progress that they made in the last 4 to 5 years since they had started first planning for this expedition. She mentioned a great sense of accomplishment that she felt completing the first phase of this expedition. And, she's very looking forward to the next steps in this journey. And then we had Kim Young-suk 대원님 saying she wanted to really kind of give herself a pat on the back for completing, I'm sure, the very long journey. And after doing this, she felt like, 나는 아무거나 할 수 있다. Like nothing is impossible. So, it seems like everybody here, through this big challenge that they took on, from people that were planning the expedition to people that were just members, kind of going along with the team, it was an incredible journey for them. And at the end, hopefully this gave them just that spirit of just taking on more challenges, and I guess a sense of kind of looking forward to more of these expeditions and the fruits that might come out of an endeavor like this. Lastly, we had 나오주 위원장님 saying that he said that, we never know what tomorrow is going to bring. And that's why he thinks it's important to stay open to all possibilities and to do your best every day. And he promises to give his best until the decision day for the host city of the 2030 World Expo. So I'm sure the Eurasia Peace Expedition, a big part of it these past couple of years, especially the most recent one, was to kind of spur on attraction and promotion for the World Expo to take place right here in Busan City. I'm sure the efforts of the 3 individuals that Olivia spoke with today is going to add to, Busan hopefully being named the host city of the World Expo next month, coming up very soon. Thank you so much. A very interesting, a very fun On the Mic that we had today. Our reporter Olivia speaking with our 3 special guests, 한미영, 나호주, and Kim Young-suk 님. Thank you so much. That was today's On the Mic. Let's take a quick song break. We'll be back with more. This is Bread with Everything I Own.
You sheltered me from harm, kept me warm, kept me warm. You gave my life to me, set me free, set me free. The finest years I ever knew. Ahead with you, and I would give anything I own, give up my life, my heart, my home. I would give everything I own just to have you back again. You taught me what it's all. You never said too much, but still you showed the way, and I knew from watching you. Nobody else could ever know the part of me that can't let go. And I would give anything Is there someone you know? You're loving them so, but taking them all for granted. You may lose them one day. Someone takes them away, and they don't hear the words you long to say. I would give anything I own, give up my life, my heart, my home. I would give everything I own just to have you back again, just to touch you once again.
And that was Bread with Everything I Own. Time is now 7:14 on the dot. You are tuned into the second hour of Inside Out Busan. I'm your host, Min-Soo Shin. Good evening to you all. I do hope you're having a lovely Thursday, or you had one, because probably most of you are off work now. 오늘도 수고했습니다. Let's see what the weather and traffic is shaping up to be right now. Right now, Busan City is averaging 20 degrees. Tomorrow, expecting morning low of 14 and an afternoon high of 19. So Busan is expected to have some light rain in the morning. And tomorrow morning's rain will bring cooler air, not just to the city, but the entire country. So we could be waking up to the chilliest morning temperatures of the season. 부산은 내일 흐리고 비가 오는 곳도 있겠습니다. 비가 그치면 아침에 매우 쌀쌀하겠습니다. 그래서 여러분 단디 챙기쇼. Let's see. Traffic. We have congestion on 대교로 from 부산대교 going towards Pongnae Junction. There's also congestion on Hwangyangdaero from Busan 상공회의소 going towards Hwangyang Tunnel. And then we have slow-moving traffic on Mandokdaero from Deokcheon Junction going towards Sukdung Junction. Everybody, drive safe, be safe. 부탁드릴게요. All right, so today we are talking about the AI photo trend that everybody's going crazy for these days. The AI-generated photos that make you look like you went to school in the US in the 90s. So I'm sure you've come across these photos on your social media. 뉴스도 탄 것 같아요. 요즘 사람들이 너무 많이 해서, right? So I wanted to hear from you. Like, what do you think about these photos? Do you even have any embarrassing pictures of yourself? I don't know why I always say embarrassing. Because, I think school pictures, you shouldn't be embarrassed about them. It's a record of you that you went to this school. 저는 이 학교 다녔습니다라에 그냥 기록이 남는 거예요, right? And if it comes out nice, it comes out nice, right? So we also had a follow-up message from Brandon and Aiden me saying, Korean graduation photo that I took looks like passport photo. Expressionless, big face, unsophisticated hairstyle. Brandon and Aiden, I mean, maybe that was the trend back then. 그때는 그게 트렌드였나 봐요. Why not? I've seen a lot of pictures like that, right? So like I said, Brandon, hopefully you're not, you don't feel jealous of the 90s photos that people take. 제가 말씀드렸죠. in 1부에. 실제로 그런 사진들 90년대 그렇게 잘 나온 사진들 거의 없어요. Nobody looked like that in the 90s. I mean, maybe there were a couple, but maybe one out of every 300, 400 people maybe had like a nice photo, right? During the 90s, if you look at the real photos from the 90s, 이때 이랬다고, right? And you're sometimes even embarrassed for yourself, right? So, Brennan, you have nothing to worry about. I'm sure, when it comes to just awkward, maybe embarrassing photos, like those 90 photos that people actually took in America, they're very embarrassed about them too. We have a couple messages on our YouTube saying, let's see who we have. We also have 조민성님 follow-up message. 우리 조민성님은 제가 HK님 너무 잘생겼어요라고 민성님이 메시지 보내니까 민성님, don't pay too much attention to HK님's looks, okay? It's the content. It's his voice and what he says is important. 말하는 게 중요하잖아요. 그래서 우리 조민성님이 HK님 목소리 너무 좋아요. 라고 follow 메시지. 역시 우리 눈치가 좀 빠르네요. 그리고 우리 인류의 충전소님 쌩 민수 씨 질투하세요? 네, 질투합니다. 저도 그렇게 칭찬 받고 싶습니다. 충전소님. 아니요, I'm not jealous. It's okay. I'm not jealous. 전 괜찮아요. 난 괜찮아. We also have 예나님 saying I'll bring proof. Yena, no, don't. I don't know. Do you have pictures of me when I was in high school or junior high? Because if you do, please burn them. Because I don't want to see them. I think I'll get angry, actually, if I see photos. That's why I told you. That's why I told our listeners I refuse to open up my yearbook. I don't have my yearbook, but I have pictures from my high school because I get angry at myself when I look at those photos. Why did I allow myself to be dressed and look like that back then? So, if you're going to visit, don't come with those photos. I'm going to send you right back on the plane, okay, to California. 임세원님 on our YouTube saying, Hi, Minsu. Honestly, we look terrible in the 90s. In today's lingo, so cringe. Oh, 맞아요. 세원님. So the reason why I don't look at my photos, because of 닭살. 저 보고 바로 이 소리가 나와요. And then I close my yearbook, or close the photo album right away. Super cringe. So 세원님, you know what I'm talking about, right? When we look at photos back then, when we look at the photos that's trendy right now, those AI photos, this is all, as they say, Photoshop plus just unrealistic, photos that results. AI thinks too highly of humans right now. According to those 90s yearbook photos, nobody looked like that in the 90s, all right? So, folks, it's fun, but yeah, just I don't want to, break everybody's dreams, but nobody looked like that. Thank you so much for all your participation. It's Thursday, second hour of our show, so let's get to today's segment, 마음톡톡. Time for IOB's Mind Talk, 마음톡톡 시간입니다. 우리 오정아 원장님 와셨습니다. 원장님 안녕하십니까?
네, 안녕하세요. This is 오정아 from Chicago Therapeutic Center, 시카고 심신치유센터. 반갑습니다.
반갑습니다, 원장님. 원장님, you also spent some time in America, right? Did you take any like school yearbook photos or your even graduation photos?
Graduation.
Oh.
But I wasn't like high school or anything at the time. But I was like middle of 30s. I was there like pretty late. And
okay. So it was like for college or like for masters. But so everybody's probably like an adult, in those photos. Okay.
Yeah.
Have you tried the AI like the 90s?
No, I haven't.
Oh, you haven't?
But it will be really right.
궁금하지 않아요?
Yeah. But I will.
Yeah, I'm thinking about trying to get everybody here in the BFM studio, or not everybody, but some people, 비교해보려고요. Especially people that went to school in the 90s and have them like compare their actual yearbook photos with the AI generated ones.
Yeah, it will be very interesting to
재밌을
see.
것 같은데 근데 AI가 만드는 게 너무
realistic?
No, not realistic. No. Realistic? Too realistic sometimes, but too pretty and too handsome are the results of the AI photos, right? 저도 AI 그거 하려 하면 진짜 잘생기게 나올 것 같아요. Even me, all right? So you know that it speaks a lot to how nice the AI program is. All right, well, today, Mind Talk, 마음톡톡 시간입니다.
Okay.
What do you have for us today?
So when we are in a romantic relationship, there are times when we agree with each other and have a good time, but there are also times when we have different opinions. So let's talk about the frustrations that come from those moments.
Yeah, so continuing to talk about communication, especially amongst people in romantic relationships. So let's get to today's story.
Yes.
I've been with my partner Youngjin for over 7 years. And we faced life's ups and downs together, supporting each other through thick and thin. Recently, we have one issue that he and I have very different views on: marriage. While I've always dreamed of a traditional wedding and the idea of legally committing to one another, Youngjin has been steadfast in his belief that marriage isn't necessary to validate our love. What should I do? Okay, I see. 영진 아주 very 요즘 마인드인 것 같아요, right? There's a lot of people thinking these days that we don't have to get married, right? We could do everything the same as husband and wife does, but to have that title of Mr. and Mrs., husband and wife, isn't necessary. But let's get into this story a little bit in detail, as well as your thoughts.
Sure. Let's refer to this writer as Jia. I'm really glad that you shared your situation with us. It's clear that you and Youngjin likely have a strong and lasting bond, which is super important in any committed relationship. Talking about marriage can be tough, especially when you both see it differently. So, Minsu, what are your thoughts on Jia's situation?
So like you said, they've been together for 7 years. And it really looks like, they love each other.
Right.
It's like 7 years is a long time, right? So if you've been together for that long, their relationship is strong. But I see it a lot of the times, no matter how strong a relationship is, on the topic of marriage, if both don't see eye to eye, it never ends up well. Yeah. I've come across relationships, short relationships, long-term relationships, but whenever they arrive at the decision of marriage, those that think alike doesn't mean, they both agreed to get married. But even if both agree to not get married, but continue seeing each other, maybe even living with each other, those relationships are pretty strong. But if it's separate, if it's different when it comes to their view on marriage, one person wanting to get married and one person not wanting to get married, it's kind of unfortunate to say, but more often than not, it doesn't work out too well in the end, right? So hopefully that's not the case for Jia-님, but that's the kind of like the experience that I've had when I see other people with it.
I see. So when opinions clash or conflict,
네.
active listening is necessary.
Okay, active listening. What's that?
As a concept of active listening, it has roots in various communication and counseling theories and practices. While it doesn't have a single specific origin, it has evolved over time from multiple resources, including Carl Roger's client-centered therapy and humanistic psychology and so on.
Okay, so today we're covering the topic of active listening, and this is something that maybe if you find yourself, right, or know of other people that is in Chia's situation, active listening might prove useful. Right, when it comes to trying to figure out this kind of concern. So tell us more about it, please.
Active listening is not just about hearing words. It's about really getting what the speaker is saying. So how they feel and what they think. And to do this, you've got to pay full attention to the speaker. Use your words and body languages to show you are listening without interrupting or judging. So you also try to understand things from the speaker's side and say things like, I get how you feel, and ask questions that make the conversation deeper. So we talked about imago communication last week.
We did, yeah.
So there was a step, like first step was conscious dialogue, and second was like mirroring.
Yeah.
And third was the validation, and fourth was empathetic response. So this is the part of the conscious dialogue, and on top of that, ask questions, make the conversation deeper. And this is the key as well. And so, Minsu, how do you approach situation with your wife when you have different opinions?
How do I approach the conversation, or what do I do when we have different opinions?
Yes.
She's right. 무조건. 무조건 우리 와이프 말이 맞습니다. But I always side with her. I always side with her decisions. I support whatever she says, but I don't say no, I don't agree. But rather, you said, I guess kind of asking questions to get deeper into why, because I want to understand why she wants to get that decision. Because I've learned very early. I've learned very early on, and many advice have come to me. Just to start off, when you guys get into an argument, just know that I'm in the wrong and she's in the right. But I know they say that as a joke, but taking that approach has helped us get over some situations. But it's not me kind of always surrendering. I do put in the effort and take the time to ask questions to see why she thinks like that. I never kind of shun any answers or decisions or thoughts that she has. Yeah, so that's how I kind of approach this situation. 와이프 말이 항상 맞는데 근데 왜 맞지? 라고 I like to kind of dive in deeper. So asking questions is important for me.
Right, exactly. So here are some questions for Gia to consider to help her better understand her emotions on a deeper level and the challenges in her situation.
Okay, so things that Gia could keep in mind and consider. Maybe some of our listeners who might be following along, maybe if you're in this situation too, or maybe know of like a friend or family that might be in Chia's situation, it'd be good to take on these questions.
Sure. One, are there any specific reasons from my past or upbringing that have influenced my desire for a traditional marriage? And two, what does marriage represent to me personally? 3. What fears or insecurities are tied to this issue? 4. Have I discussed the long-term goals and vision for our relationship with the Youngjin? 5. What compromises or alternatives am I willing to explore? So self-reflection questions are an essential step in understanding your emotions, identifying your needs, and developing a plan to address this specific situation.
Yeah. Then 원장님, what about for maybe because this is for Jia님 as well as Youngjin, if they have a difference in opinion in marriage, they should first kind of ask themselves these questions. Then would you recommend for people, maybe for couples, if both of them agree, okay, let's get married, should we still kind of contemplate, maybe like think about these questions? If both agree to get married?
Both agree, then you don't need to talk about it that like specifically. But I think it's still you need to discuss.
Yeah.
Well, what does the marriage mean to you?
Yeah.
And,
the reason why I ask is because when me and my wife decided to get married, like we were both just very for it. But looking at those questions that you asked, that you want, people to consider or Chia to consider, I was like, how come we never how come I never asked myself this, or how come I never asked my wife this when we were getting married? It was just 너무 당연한 거라고 생각했나 봐요, 저희들은. I mean, don't get me wrong, like we don't regret it or anything, of course, but we never really took the time to ask ourselves I guess why we're getting married.
But it was like it seems like it was a natural step for you guys to get married, and so that's why I didn't really have thought
right.
about.
But for Jia님, who has a difference in opinion on marriage with Youngjin, yeah, I think it's good to consider what she thinks, what marriage is supposed to be, and then kind of compare and contrast with what Youngjin thinks marriage is. So let's get into, I guess, things that Chia could do and consider. So what can she do?
So as I gave you self-reflective questions, you should take some time to reflect on why marriage holds significant for you. So is it the idea of having a grand wedding ceremony, a celebration, the formal legal commitment, or perhaps something else that feels truly special to you? So when you understand what's most meaningful to you, it can make it easier to have heartfelt conversation with the Youngjin and help him see your perspective more clearly.
Okay. So if it's maybe on the topic of the actual ceremony, then 결혼식을 꼭 해야 되나?
Right.
Maybe if this is something to consider, like ask yourself, if you want a big wedding, why do you want a big wedding? And if you don't want a big wedding, and just go to like a 동사무소 and just sign your name saying, we're like living together and we're married, why do you opt for that? So significance in that sense of what the act of getting married, like in terms of the 결혼식, the celebration, means to you, okay? So sorting out what marriage means is very much needed.
Right.
What you want to say?
That's true. Furthermore, think about what you want in the future, like where you see yourself in a few years or even many years from now. Ask yourself if you are okay with not getting married, if it means just staying with a Youngjin. So being honest with yourself is crucial. So you know what's the most important to you and what you are willing to give up or not give up.
Okay. So it's important to be honest with yourself. But for Chia, I think it's really difficult if she doesn't want to give up Youngjin, but she always wants to get married, let's say.
Right.
But she knows Youngjin will never want to get married. I don't know. I think 너무 어려울 것 같아요. 그런 상황에서는.
네.
Right? So in that kind of situation, she has to basically put Youngjin and marriage as like the two choices. Because if she chooses marriage, then she can't have it with Youngjin. But if she chooses Youngjin, then she knows she can't have marriage. Right? Oh, that's tough. That's tough. But being honest with yourself, and even if you can't choose one side, that's also important.
Right. So you and Youngjin need to have a heart-to-heart talk about why marriage is important to you. And don't forget to hear what he thinks too. Ask him questions like, what does marriage mean to you? And what worries you about it? The more you know about each other's thoughts and feelings, and the better you can figure out a solution that works for both of you.
Yeah. I think not only telling your side of the story too much and trying to force your agenda onto Youngjin, this might make him even more kind of go the other way, saying like, I'm never going to get married, even if you think like that. So asking him questions, what he thinks, might even help you understand more, right? Okay.
Yeah. So you should explore some ways to find a middle ground that makes both of you happy. So ask yourself, is there something we can be flexible about? Instead of the traditional grand wedding, there might be other ways to show your love and commitment. So maybe think about having a special commitment ceremony where you both make promises to each other in front of loved ones, or you could even create your own partnership agreement.
Yeah. It doesn't have to say like married, right? Here in Korea, when you go to the the 동사무소 or even city hall to sign those papers, it's not saying you're married. It's more of like, you're living together. And people assume if people live together, they're married. But a lot of time people just kind of, sign that and that's it. So, yeah, I guess that's the more, like these days, 생각, these days mindset. We could still be husband and wife without being called husband and wife. So if you guys could meet in the middle, I think that is something, if both sides agree with it, both sides sacrificing a little bit, I think that could be definitely an option too. Okay.
그리고 뭐죠 이렇게 부모님들이 자녀분들한테
네.
결혼식 해야 된다 이렇게 조금 강요라고 해야 되나요? 권유라고 해야 되나요?
그럴 때도 많죠.
또 이렇게 하라고.
네. 조금 푸시하는 부모님들도 좀 있는 것 같아요. 왜냐하면 부모님들도 I think for parents, now this is just my personal opinion, but a lot of the times for parents, it's more for like show to other people. Right? Let's say, for a lot of the parents, if they take the what do you call it, the people in audience at weddings, if you take those people out of the equation, if let's say nobody comes to the wedding ceremony, then some of them might think like, oh, then do we need a 결혼식 if nobody's going to come? So in that sense, then, it's mostly for show to like other people saying, this my son or my daughter is getting married. 그걸 좀 보여주기 위해서도 하는 것도 조금 있는 것 같긴 해요. Like for me, this is my own personal opinion, right? So parents forcing marriage onto people, onto like their children or to couples, this might be a factor in people not wanting to get married too. 네. Okay. Yeah. Anything else that you like to mention to Chia?
It's essential to honor each other's decisions, even if your partner, Youngjin, opinion doesn't match with yours. Getting married is just one way to say I love you and want to be with you forever.
Yeah.
So, however, there are plenty of other ways to express the same feeling, like being there for each other, supporting each other's dreams, and making each other smile. In addition, it's okay if it takes some time to sort it out.
Yeah.
The important thing is to keep talking and listening to each other with active listening.
Definitely important. So for Chia, who's been with Youngjin for 7 years, 이제 7년 사귀고 이제 그 말 나오기 시작했으면 if it's starting to come out, I think for Chia, give it some time. 7년 동안 같이 있었는데 갑자기 이제 결혼돼서 생각하니까 영진이가 no라고 하니까 바로 거기서 헤어지고 안 돼 이렇게 하면 안 될 것 같아요. 지금까지 싸운 그 7년 동안 같이 아까우니까요. So I think for Chia, taking the time, like you said, to talk about it, to actively listen to Youngjin, I think is very important. We have a couple messages coming in, people commenting about today's segment. We have Yena saying, marriage is the ultimate commitment, which is also a security in your relationship. Yeah. So people might thinking, 결혼을 안 해도 되는데 그냥 안정감을 느끼고 싶다. But I guess with Yena saying, then marriage is like kind of like the ultimate 안정감, is it not? 결혼하면 of course, like divorce can happen, but that's like the final, lock, final lock on your relationship. So maybe if both sides want security, then I guess you could talk to each other, 서로 말하면서 you could figure out that maybe getting married is an answer to security, okay, in our relationship. We have 인류의 충전수님 saying 한국에서 결혼은 집안 대집안이라 더 어려운 것 같아요. 한국에선 결혼 상대만 생각하면 되는 게 아니라 시부모님과 처가와의 관계도 중요한 문제라서요. How do you hear that a lot in your counseling sessions? it's not a problem, maybe even people before they get married. It's not so much so we have problems, but I guess the problem that, a person might see in the in-laws family.
Right.
그런 일도 좀 많아요.
네. 뭐 물론 이제 와이프랑 남편과의 갈등도 있겠지만
네.
그럼으로써 이제 그 시부모님과 며느리 사이가 또 안 좋아지기도 하고
네.
그래서 그것 때문에 아내분들이 마음의 상처가
네.
굉장히 깊어요 생각보다.
맞아요.
네.
And something like that, just the problems that could arise from in-laws, that could be enough for people to say, I don't want to experience that, so I don't want to get married, right?
네.
왜냐면 결혼 안 하면 안 겪는잖아요, right? You don't experience that if you don't get married. So, yeah. We also have 충유서님 commenting saying, I literally asked my mom, "Were you happy with that?" And she said no.
Are you happy?
So I said, then don't insist my marriage. 충전소님.
네.
Because I guess 충전소님 isn't married yet. So 충전소님 asked their mom, were you happy with that? And she was like, no. So I was like, 그러면 don't make me get married if you're not happy with that. I guess that's a way too. 그것도 한 방법이죠. 네. And listeners, these are personal opinions, not something that we want to, promote, right? 마지막으로 우리 토끼님 saying, I've been married for 3 years. Every Thursday, this counseling session is always a great help to my life. Thanks a lot,
thank
원장님.
you.
네.
Thank you for listening.
네, 맞아요. 원장님, I think very helpful. Even 결혼한 분들도 이런 질문들 한 번씩 그냥 물어보면 kind of like 중간 체크.
네.
I guess, with their marriage, what they think of it right now. I think it also can spur on kind of great conversation between husband and wife, right? Nice. 원장님, thank you so much. Another very helpful, very interesting segment you shared with us today. We'll see you next week.
Sure. I will see you next week then.
네, 수고했습니다. 감사합니다. Folks, we'll be back after this song break. This is Electric Light Orchestra with Starlight.
안녕하세요. 고품격 영어 방송 Inside Out 부산의 품격 있는 writer Steve입니다. Winners of Inside Out Busan listeners participation segment will get full course meal voucher from Golden Lizzie, a gourmet restaurant in Gyeongdong and Yeonsandong, where you can taste cuisine from Michelin Guide featured Chef Kim. 미슐랭 셰프의 파인 레스토랑 골든 리지에서 10만 원 외식 상품권. A place to entertain your brain and eyes. Museum of Illusions. 당신의 눈과 뇌를 즐겁게 하는 곳. 뮤지엄 오브 일루전 부산 착시미술관 입장권. 언제나 맛있는 커피를 신선하게 만드는 양산에 위치한 인투 로스터리. Coffee voucher and a pack of fresh coffee whole beans sponsored by Into Roastery in Yangsan. A delicious brunch for two from Gorilla Brewing Busan, Gwangan branch, the leader of Korean handmade beer culture. 수제 맥주 전문점 고릴라 브루잉 부산에서 제공하는 식사권. We prepare admission tickets for the Busan X the Sky Top Floor Observatory, which is located at LCT in Haeundae, the highest place in Busan. 부산 대표 랜드마크 해운대 LCT에 위치한 하늘 위의 바다. 부산 X the Sky 전망대 입장권을 선물로 드립니다. IOB와 함께하는 품격 있는 선물. It's all yours, listeners.
All right, listeners, time to slowly wrap up today's show with our final segment, Quote Unquote. And today, I bring a quote from one of my favorite authors. Yes, I do read. Not these days. This person is one of the most renowned children's book, right? So most renowned author of children's books, and it's Dr. Seuss. And the quote today says, "Sometimes you will never know the value of a moment until it becomes a memory." So I was inspired to share this quote with our listeners today because today, we're talking about the AI-generated yearbook photo trend. So this trend, it reflects the advancement of technology. We had Brandon and Aidenim say that, it's so realistic, right? It is. And the technology today, it allows users to recreate or maybe even imagine themselves in various ways, including generating these fictional images of their past, right? Which maybe even never happened for a lot of people. So in this context, this quote by Dr. Seuss, "Sometimes you will never know the value of a moment until it becomes a memory," this reminds us that while these AI-generated yearbook photos, they might recreate or capture moments of your past, what's most important, the true essence and value, it's in the memories we create with people and events in our lives today. So this quote encourages us to share the real, the authentic experiences we have when it comes to our relationships, our friends and families. And it emphasizes the significance of genuine connections, real life moments over digitally manipulated representations. So it's fun, listeners. 재밌잖아요. But don't forget, that's AI, right? And hopefully this encourages you to, remember your actual past. 이 사진은 재밌긴 한데, but remember my real yearbook photos? So I really hope today was kind of like a trip down memory lane for a lot of listeners. And maybe think about, those embarrassing photos that you might have taken here in Korea. And I know some people have some some fun ones and some embarrassing ones as well. Hopefully we could kind of laugh it off, maybe even have the courage to, who knows, share with other people. So like I said, the AI photos, they're fun, but they can't beat the actual real memories that we had in the past and the ones we make today. Thank you so much for all your participation in today's show. Folks, have a good night. I'm going to leave you with our last track. This one's by The Police. Every little thing she does is magic. Inside of Busan was written by Im Soo-jin, and it was hosted and produced by me, Min Soo-shin. Have a good one.
1,000 times a day. Ask her if she'll marry me, some old-fashioned way. But my silent fears have gripped me long before I reach the phone, long before my tongue has stripped me. Must I always be alone? Every little thing she does is magic. Everything she does just turn me on. Even though my love before was tragic, now I know my love for her goes on. Every little thing she does is magic. Everything she do just turn me on. Even though my love before was tragic, now I know my love for her goes on.